daughters, and my sons. Thank you, Ramuji, for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor. Over to you.
All right. I'm sure you need the lights. Right? Maybe one row of lights here. Dim a bit. Yes. Good afternoon, friends. Just to tell you my full name, to see how mindful you are. It's Mukundagiri Kandadai Ramanujam, and I'm going to ask it back, and anybody who tells it right would get a special platter of fruits out here. You please call me Ram. I'm from India. I'm from a southern part of India, a place called Chennai, a lovely city, and I volunteer this lovely foundation in the US which wants to make the lives of underprivileged better. It's called Love to Share Foundation US. Invited me, and I'm so honored to be with all you doctors, researchers, and facilitators of making life better for most of the humankind. And I really like your logo of striking out cancer. And let me start off without much ado about what I'm going to sort of share with you and maybe do with you today. As far as I'm concerned, in India, mindfulness means meditation, right? And we have two stages of that meditation: the doing and the thinking that I am doing part of it, and actually being in meditation. In India, we separate them as people in the path and people who are adepts, you see. And I'm sure other traditions have similar ways of looking at it. And so we exist in these three levels of doing, thinking, and being. And I guess we are trying to do this as an effortful type of a meditation. And the end is finally an effortless state of complete mindfulness, which you may call by different names. In India, we revere them as wise men, realized souls, and stuff like that. And I'm sure there are equal names in other cultures too. So we are in step A, and I'm going to show you one other method of trying that step A to come into mindfulness or to get into the state of meditation. Right? All right. Let me very quickly hazard into our philosophy, and if I see frowns, I'm going to come out of it immediately, because it takes a little background to appreciate that, or sort of accept that. In India, mind is not the final barrier, you see. Mind is like a mysterious power above what we call now as consciousness, and I think scientists in the West are calling it the field, okay? So we are trying to get the mind silent, believe it or not. And when the mind is silent, something else comes into play. Sportsman calls it being in the zone. I've read some of the sketches of sportsmen stumbling into the sea, whether you call it consciousness or soul, I don't know. The moment I give a term, it has a lot of other connotations, so let me call it sea. And the moment the mind is silent and we are attentive, we seem to be our creative breast. And I've read some books about British athletes, especially a lady who was a 1980 champion. And she said that during the final race of hurdles, the whole race was like a breeze. And she had felt this effortlessness. And she had felt very light. And all she knew was the shot of the gun. And the next thing she knew, the ribbon was broken and she was a gold medalist. And that was a book written by a coach. I don't know the name of the coach. The name of the book is Mind Games. And I really love that explanation of hers, because I have experienced very briefly every now and then that sense of effortlessness, where the mind, as it were, was not putting any efforts, but I did a perfect job, you see. I'm sure you, being experts in your field, would have tasted it also. So the whole purpose of meditation is to somehow, if I can use the technical term, mind abides in consciousness. And that's what we call as mindfulness, or consciousness, or state of meditation. Is that acceptable to the group here? Oh, good. All right. All right. I tried it in a corporate and I burnt my fingers, you see. So I just want to make sure that we are all here together. Right. So let me get a show of hands. I do that all the time wherever I do meditation workshops. You think mindfulness is a means to something, or you think mindfulness is the end in itself? So let me make it simpler. People who think mindfulness is a means or a method for something greater in life, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. how about people who think mindfulness is the end in itself? Maybe it's not even a means. Oh, wow, all right. We have an and person here. And the rest are abstaining. It's not United Nations. Okay. All right. So rest are abstaining. That's good. Actually, it's both. You can use it as a means, and for some who are passionate about the state of mindfulness, it can be the end too. It's not an or question, but obviously it can be an and question depending on what we want, you see. So let me show you the method, which can be either the means or the end in itself. But before that, a small little disclaimer. Let me tell you what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to introduce you to what is called in India as the mantra meditation, which is there in other Oriental philosophies too. And before we start, I'm sure, how many of you have heard the term mantra before? Yeah, most of you, I'm sure. Anybody can tell me the technical definition of mantra here, what it really means? Because we use it for corporates, we use it for sports, like the word guru has become universal, mantra has become universal. Mantra for success and mantra for health, happiness and stuff like that. Let me inundate you with a little bit of Sanskrit because I came from India. Mananat prayate iti mantraha. The actual mantra term is a very ancient term in India. It's from a language called Sanskrit, which is pretty ancient. And the word mantra can be expanded as that whose repetition of which, or the mental repetition of a sound, which can help us overcome or which can protect us, is called mantra. Now, in India, we believe that mantra has its own nature of silencing the mind. Not all sounds are alike. Like, not all white stuff is alike, right? In America, I always get confused. In India, sugar is clearly a crystal, not a powder. And in America, you have salt and sugar, and until you label them, you get confused, you see. Both are white, both are powdery, but the nature is different, right? Likewise, we have a lot of sounds in this universe. There were some spiritual scientists in the past who managed to discover the nature of some sounds which can help us to overcome, if I can use the term, trivial thoughts or frivolous thoughts or negative thoughts. And that's the basis of mantra meditation. So we hold on to a very powerful sound which silences all other sounds, and then it gets into the silence on its own accord. Make sense? That's the basis of this meditation, so that you know what you're signing up to. You see? Right. All right, let me go on to explain you a mantra meditation. It's all about holding on to powerful thought. When the sound becomes silent in the mind, it's a thought. It's very interesting the way in which Indians define thought. They say it is an unspoken word is a thought, you see. And I don't know how many of you have analyzed your dreams, not about the science of dreams and all that, but in your dreams, have you found out that the pictures and the sound fuse into what is called as an imagery of the dreamscape, right? You can't differentiate a sound and a picture in your dreams, obviously. In the mind, the sound and the picture becomes one as a thought. So that's the thought. Holding on to a powerful thought could be a lovely visualization of an image, or repeating a very powerful word in the mind, and that becomes a thought when you repeat it here. Right? So holding on to a powerful thought which consumes all other frivolous thoughts, bringing in a sharp state of mindfulness. So that's what mantra meditation is supposed to achieve in all of us. And then finally, it comes to what is called as effortless attention. I generally tend to differentiate attention and concentration, though we use it interchangeably. Concentration, by its nature, involves a little bit of conflict, I think. When I say, I want to eat, but I got to listen, you see, then one part of the mind is focusing on eating. I'm not talking about you guys, okay? I'm just giving a hypothesis. And the other part of mind is pulling this and said, not now, listen, you see? And that's what is concentration. When our kids tell us that I'm trying to concentrate here, you can see that there is a trying there. The moment you try something, there is a conflict, you see? A kid does not say, I'm trying to play here. You know, it just plays. When it comes to things which is not very sweet or not very attractive, they try to do it, which means there is a portion of the mind resisting, there is another portion of mind trying to pull it back there, and that we call as concentration. Just, you know, this is semantics. If you think attention is concentration, that's your level, no problem. I'm just trying to separate these. Attention, on the other hand, would be, imagine you love gardening and you're doing gardening. You see, now there is no concentration there. You love it, your attention is there, you enjoy it. Now you get this, right? So that's the reason I say generally meditation camps are not concentration camps, but attention camps. Okay? So where you don't sort of struggle inside, you sort of flow. It's like an effortless flow of how we actually get to the core. That's why I put a C there. You call it core of your being or consciousness or whatever it is. Center, doesn't matter. That's how the mind finally draws itself to its center. All right, so this is what mantra meditation's philosophy is. And generally, before you even get there, there is a very important first step, which mostly in India is missed. You see, it is like cleaning your operation theater before you do the operation. Sanitizing, you see, preparing, sharpening the axe. You want more metaphors now? See, so the actual meditation in Indian philosophy, a great person, a rishi called Patanjali, gave a lovely system of meditation in India. Meditation is one step below what maybe Maslow says as self-transcendence or self-actualization, stuff like that. That's what we are all trying to achieve, right? So, but before this practice of meditation, there are a lot of, if I can use the term, sanity factors, which better be taken care if you want to retain the state of meditativeness. It's like, as it were, a pot with a lot of 9 holes in the bottom. You keep on pouring water inside, but it's keeping on draining out, you see? But if you plug the holes and then start pouring water, we can protect the gains, you see? So that's why they put a grand preparing. I'll quickly take you through that because it takes a lifetime to learn all these things. I'm just taking you through what we see it as meditation in India so that you can sort of go more vigorously in the path which you have chosen, right? Am I going too fast? I believe in India people speak faster than Americans now. Yeah. Grand preparing. The first thing is right living, it's restraint. And I'm so glad that you have a small plate for your meditation. The moment you have a platter, I have no hope of making you sit in meditation, because there are 3-4 things which are very important for the mind to be prepared for meditation. Number 1, food, believe it or not. In India, we have really burnt all our energies trying to study food. You see, we are obsessed about it. In fact, many people in the West tend to think that our religion is a kitchen religion. We talk everything is food for us, you see. So, there are quantities of food and agreeable nature of food, which you have to find out yourself, you see. So what agrees, what dulls you, what sort of agitates you. And in India, we knew the connection between food and the mind for a very long time, which is a reason why generally we people are very careful about food, earlier at least. And now the whole nature of food has sort of transformed into junk food versus real nutritious food. And within the nutritious food, there are gradations which sort of affect the mind. And that's a lovely study in India, I know, in its own accord. We divide the food into 3. Everything is divided into 3 in India, you see. And food is divided into 3. Dulling foods, harmonious foods, and provocative foods. So, you see, 3 types. So, right living with restraint, I would say that is what is called yama in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. I just try to give an equivalent term for you. And the second one is necessary observances. Like, for example, what are the basic things I need to do? And one of the most important necessary observances is silence whenever you can. You see, talking whenever only you need to. Because your mental energies are expended out by talking. And coming from me, it must be for all my life. But that's my job and I enjoy it. So necessary observances, we call it maunam. Maunam means silence. Because more we talk, more the mind is ready or fueled to filter away its energy, you see. And there are 10 each, okay? I'm just giving you a sample. And for right living with restraint, that which I love the most is acceptance, you see. And I learned acceptance. I'll quickly tell you the story. 80% of it is true. I added 20% of it to just add a little flavor, like you do a cream out there. So I went to United Kingdom. I went to a place, and the moment I entered the place, the hostess thought that I came from India, so I love a vegetable in India called, you know that. Like the name suggests, it's very bitter, okay? I don't like it. But somehow that lady is a stranger, she gave me bitter gourd on my plate. Curry, you all know curry, because India's one of the major exports is IT and curry. So we have this plate full of bitter gourd curry. And I come from a corporate background where my boss has always told me, eat the frog, Ram, rest of the day would be a breeze for you. Do the toughest thing first, and the rest of the day will be enjoyable. In the lovely platter of my food, this bitter stuff was in the corner, and I thought, let me finish this off so that I can enjoy the rest of my meal. But that lady didn't undergo the same training module, you see. So I finished the bitter gourd. She thought, wow, I knew it. Ram loves bitter gourd. Here it is. Fourth time, fifth time, her husbands, her children, they're yet to thank me for that. I had all the 4 portions. And then I thought it was done. I love Americans, except one American had a little problem with him. His name is Alexander Graham Bell. So I went to the next town. The moment I entered into the dining room, it was bitter gourd in everything. Because that lady had a lovely phone. She said, guess what? I'll give you a tip. Ram is coming home, right? He loves bitter gourd. And I had a bitter gourd week, you see? And then I understood the difference between acceptance, resignation, and agreement. And that's very important if you want to meditate, I think. You know, you may not agree to things which happen around you. You can change it in future, I guess. But to accept it now takes tremendous maturity. Many people mix acceptance and agreement like me. For me, bitter gourd was in the plate. I resigned. You know, resignation means that's my fate. I got to eat it. I am sacrificing my needs for a perceived fulfillment of somebody else's needs. That looks very grand as a sacrifice and all that. Doesn't work. I am investing myself in a future bitterness whenever I sacrifice my needs. So when you want to progress in spirituality, my master used to tell me, expand your needs and fulfill them, you see. And don't try to say no to your needs when you see it clearly there, you see. So acceptance would mean not using these words. Could have, should have, would have, and the loveliest of all, why, you see. In technology, in the outside world, why is a lovely question to ask? Because it results in lovely advancements. I don't know, there are a lot of psychologists here, but I have found out that why in the mind is a big problem for our enhancement in our inner life. If we question why all the time, we are now in non-acceptance and we have not even taken the first step towards a solution. So I think here, one of the major traits which we have been trained before you even meditate is what is called as titiksha, which is tolerance and acceptance. Tolerance and acceptance, again as I told you, does not mean you agree with whatever happens around you. You accept it. Work towards future changing of what you desire. Is that okay now? So if somebody puts bitter gourd on my plate, non-acceptance would be, why did you not ask me? You could have asked me. I would have told you. Bitter gourd is still in the plate, by the way. It's not moving. And acceptance would mean, yes, you have put bitter gourd on the plate, given. But let me tell you my need right now. I don't like it, you see. But I don't want to waste it. I will eat it this time. Next time, try potatoes, for example. Yes. I'm just giving you an example. 60% of it happened. She really served bitter gourd to me and I had to eat it. The Graham Bell stuff I made up because it's America here. Right. So, the second one is necessary observances. It's called niyama, and one of the very solid ones is practice silence a bit whenever you can. And that would slowly cool down the mind a bit, and you can sort of do better meditation if you can observe it. It's 1/10 of what is given in our scriptures. But when I say scriptures, it's not prescriptive, okay? These are descriptive scriptures, which means they give you options. They tell you this is a good practice, go ahead and do it. Not you got to do this. You see, that's a little difference there when I said word scriptures. I know there were a few eyebrows raised. Supple body, it's called asana, and I believe Warren told me you do yoga in Mondays, right? When do you do yoga?
No, today 5:15, third floor, just above our heads. Come join us.
Now, that's the end of commercial there. Okay, sorry. And yoga, 5:15, okay? Supple body, it's called asana. You find that, you know, in the ancient Indian way of life, that your body needs to be fit. Your body needs to be still. Have you ever seen the connection between body and the mind? When the body is restless, probably the mind is still. If somebody can sit still and pay attention, either they are terrified or they are in attention. You see, when the mind becomes one-pointed, the body is stilled. Now the beauty with the science of yoga is they did the reverse. They said, let me study a silent mind. They found, hey, a person with a silent mind lives like this, does these things. This is how his body works. Let me do the reverse. Because mind is subtle, body is gross. When you say gross, the Indian gross, huh? It is easy to control something which is more tangible rather than something which is more intangible. So they did outside in. That's the beauty of this path, right? And then they said breath and mind are related. When you are in a suspense, you are watching a horror movie and the door is creaking open, at that point of time you hold your breath. And when the door opens and a kitten comes out, it says, ah, you see. So when the mind is in one pointed state, either by a shock or either by fear, etc., you find the breath is also regulated depending on how the mind works. When you're anxious, you tend to sort of breathe, I guess. So this, they did the reverse. They said regulate your breath if you want to regulate your mind. That's how pranayama or regulation of breath comes into being. And then comes the fifth path, which is a preparatory path. Rechannelize your thoughts. We have ants all over. Ants are automatic negative thoughts in us, A-N-T, which means that without me knowing, it keeps coming all the time. And we need to start being aware about it. I used to do a lot of corporate transformation workshops, and it works for individual too. First level is what is called as unconscious incompetence. It means I don't even know that I'm going wrong somewhere, you see. Second step is conscious incompetence. I know where I'm making mistake. I have still not corrected it. I'm in the path. Third one is conscious competence. And the fourth one, we don't call anything called unconscious. We call it effortless competence, where it becomes your second nature. That's exactly how yoga works too. Meditation works too. So these are the preparatory steps for you. And as I told you, holding on to a powerful thought, while consuming all other frivolous thoughts, that powerful thought by its nature sucks in all the other thoughts. Only that thought remains, and that thought also slowly disappears into a state of silence. This is how mantra meditation is supposed to work. And a good example is, this is not India. This is not India. I'm just giving you a photo. Okay, this is not India. All right, this is some other country. India is very clean. These are the various posters you can find in some typical countries where they don't care about the loveliness of the wall. Now imagine this. Your mind is the wall. And all the unnecessary, negative, frivolous, trivial thoughts are the posters, And what actually sticks the posters? All these, okay? Your 5 sense organs are the portals to the posters here. And now, how can you ever remove the posters there? The drastic step is break down the wall. It's a lovely label with Pink Floyd, but actually very difficult to do here. So here you can do some other stuff. You need to stick another poster which says, if you paste a poster, you would be punished, you see. And then slowly guys think, oh, I can't take this wall for granted, you see. It has protection. And so slowly, one by one, the poster sticking stops, and the only poster that remains is the poster you had deliberately put in, which said, don't paste posters. You shall be punished. You have a powerful poster. If you paste any other poster, for example, our own photo there, it will only add on to more there, you see. So that's how mantra meditation works. Imagine the mind to be this compound wall, or the wall here. And the other posters are the unnecessary thoughts, which maybe you call it negative. It's up to you to define what is negative and positive, which you didn't want in the first place. And then you need to paste another poster, even though you don't want any posters on the wall. That posters which drives away all other posters. And finally, that poster alone stays. And the example ends there. In actual meditation, that sound disappears into silence. That is how mantra meditation works. And mantras are manifold, you see. And you only know that India had 3.3 million gods. I tell you, we have 33 million mantras there, you see. We have enough mantras, depending on how you want to control the mind. Most of the mantras have meaning. Some are even meaningless words. It's called bijakshara, you see. There is no meaning, but the word has sight. For example, if I shout at somebody in an insulting way, you get irritated, won't you? But that has a meaning. When I insult somebody, I use a word. It has a meaning. Suppose I do this. It has no meaning. But that sound irritates you, wouldn't it? So don't think that only meaningful words work. in our tradition, there are some words which we can't even understand the meaning, but it also works. And that's the beauty of mantra meditation. Right? That's how we do it. And let me tell you, this is the mantra we actually follow. And we do it a little slowly because not all are adepts here. So I want to take you slowly, and we need to be patient. You see, it's not like you do a meditation today, next day you are in samadhi or something like that. It won't happen. It takes a lot of effort. And if somebody promises you instant meditation, either he must be a very spiritual person or a fraud, you see. Because only a person who is extremely bubbling with spiritual energy, maybe they can put you to samadhi. I'm yet to see one, but anyways. But there are possibilities there. Or it is just a cheap trick. So let me give you a disclaimer. It's a long path. Be ready for it. But you may reach in a couple of years also, I don't know. But be prepared for a long path. Because it takes perseverance. And it's lovely. It's worth it. So I'm going to show you a mantra which I follow. It's a very famous mantra. Some of the other organizations have also propagated that mantra. But I'm going to use it for meditation here. We do things loud. It's very easy. You see, loud chanting of a mantra is a powerful tool for a simple reason. You want to just see a lovely picture before you. You can't help seeing other things around the picture, can't you? You want to just see a lovely source of light, for example, a beam there. And suddenly somebody walks, you go there, it's gone. You want to listen only to Om chanting, for example. Suddenly somebody talks, it's gone. There is only one sense organ which we can 100% control. It's our walk, which is our voice, you see. When you want to chant something, it's in your hands or it's in your tongue, not to talk anything else. Nobody else can disturb you there. That's the reason why mantra meditation is unique. And then from loud chanting to silent chanting, from silent chanting to mental chanting, and that mental chanting, if it's unbroken, and if that mental chanting is effortless, it is what is called as the state of mindfulness. It will give you that reservoir of mindfulness. We call it Dhyana Shakti in India. That's what it is. Is that okay? So now if you want to be ready, we can quickly do a small little. This is the mantra. You all know this mantra. It's pretty famous. For those who don't know the meaning of this mantra, it's not a meaningless mantra. It has meanings. Hare means one which completely destroys negativity. Harati. And Rama means one which actually gives joy. And of course there is also a personage called Rama in India. And Krishna means that which attracts, like love. So you're looking for only three things. Get rid of negativity, have a lot of love, have a lot of joy. And that's the reason why this mantra seems to be pretty famous all over the world. And this is what we're going to practice, if it's okay by you. And any other mantra would work as well, you see. As long as you're clear that your tradition tells that's a powerful mantra, it will work beautifully for you. I have worked with this mantra for about 25 years, and that's the reason why I thought I'd talk about that, right? So let me repeat once, and so that you all, pronunciation doesn't matter. Like you make fun of us, we do in India too, you see. Universal harmony, you see. So this is how it works. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We take a break for a breath. And then Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. We take a breath. And we are going to do it 11 times. 6 times loud. I will do the counting. You focus on the name. 3 times silent. And 2 times mental or, in the mind. It makes it 11. 11 is a very holy number. You ask us anything, I will tell you meaning for every number in India. So this is 6 plus 3 plus 2. I will do the counting. And you just focus on the sound. Important thing is, when you are doing it aloud, please listen to your own voice. That's the easiest to listen to, right? So when you are chanting it aloud, listen to it. When you're doing it silently, focus on this little movement of lips where the sound is coming, yet it's not coming. And doing it mentally would be easy. The ideal state of dhyana is 100% mental, some point of time. But these are preparing you slowly. Don't jump steps, right? Do it slowly. It's okay. It's a lovely path in itself. Are we ready? Let me do a trial now to see how good you fare in phonetics. Those who want to finish your dinner or lunch, just do that. It's just 5 more minutes and you can take it. If possible, if medically you are all fit, please have your back straight, because it's very important for meditation that our spinal cord is straight. And you can just take some easy breaths in and out. I'm not going to teach you pranayama. I'm sure there are teachers who can teach you that. It's a separate science in itself. And just feel relaxed and just chant with me. These are not any assertion exercises. That's a different part of meditation. I'm just going to repeat the mantra. You repeat after me, and then I will say the show begins. When I say loud, please do it loud. When I say silent, just mumble in the same speed. And when I say mental, just do it in your mind. Yes, we'll start right now. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Silent. Do it one more time. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. in the mind. Thank you. Thank you.
Pardon me, what time is it? My watch is on my phone. Okay. We've got time for a couple of questions, or comments, or thoughts. Those who need to leave, feel free to leave. But for those who can stay, we'll go until 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Thank you. Could you please distinguish between silent and mental in the repetition of the mantra?
When I said silent, the words as verbal sound won't come out, but you will mumble it. You go through the motions as if you are talking, but you are not uttering. Like, see, I'm just moving my lips. I'm actually speaking that mantra out, but yet the word doesn't come out. So that's what I said, silent. And mental is you don't move anything at all. Yeah, my bad. Maybe I should explain that. Yeah. So this is verbal sound which reaches your ears, just the motions of the sound, and then finally the mental sound. And holding on to the mental sound, two lovely examples are given in our ancient practices. First example is we have oil, and you pour it from a top to a container to a bottom container, you'll find no break there. Right? If you can hold on to this divine name or the mantra or the sound without a break like this, that's what is called as the starting level meditation. The second level, second example given is the flow of a river. You see, there is no break in the flow of a river. So these two are the examples people give, that if you can hold on to the mental current of thought with the mantra, it is like this prohibitive poster on the wall, and slowly all other posters get off, and this, by the nature of that mantra, gets you to silence. You see, you don't have to do it as an effort, it leads you there in effortlessness. You see, that's it. Thanks for asking.
About another question or comment?
They are in silence now.
Give my, so what I'm understanding is like my mind is kind of cluttered with lots of extraneous thoughts. Ollie calls it the monkey mind. You gave the picture of all those posters and clutter, kind of like a cluttered desk. And meditation kind of clears the clutter so that we can have clear or mindful brains or thoughts.
Yes.
And so the mantra is just a way of focusing on one thing enough that we can't think about the other stuff.
Yes.
If able.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the practice of holding on to one stuff for a longer period of time, so that when you want to use the power of attention, you can put it in your medicine or sports or even being with the family. So that, yes, it's like decluttering the mind.
So a practical question, how do we do this with email? So email started maybe 15 years ago, I don't know. And I felt that ever since that time, I've lost control of my brain. I feel like there's a prompt, I've got to do this, or I'm waiting for this email to come back. Used to things were much slower, you'd send a letter. And
Yeah.
so now I'm always thinking, is she going to write me back today? Do I need to do this? How do I
I personally, it was a long time ago that I used to be in the corporate. It's about 6 years I'm out of it. But I used to write down stuff which I need to remind people so that I don't need to remember it in my mind. I have a sheet. So when I do it as a practice, I know that critical things are anywhere here, so let it not be here. You see? So that helps me practically. When I make a note, that's it. Now, if you think which note I have to see, that here you go. But the simplest way is write down, jot down stuff which are important. And since you use the monkey example, I'm giving you free consulting. It's called put the monkey on the other person. You say, this is what I want, please come back by 5 p.m. sharp, so that you put out your stress on the other guy. Let them deal with it. Let them come to the session next time. No, I'm just kidding. You can actually do that. For example, there are two types of tasks you have. One which impacts you more than the other, and other which impacts them more than you, where you are like supporting them. Whichever impacts you the most, you take the monkey on yourself. You want the control saying, I'm going to call you at 5, you see. If they stand to gain more than you in this transaction, you push the monkey to them and say, you call me at 5, because you support it. That way they won't think that you are unresponsive, because you are clearly told them you call me because you stand to gain more than me. Just a little political side of meditation.
I never thought of it that way. And my bosses must have taken your course.
Now you are the boss.
Another question?
2 repetitions.
I'm sorry.
I've heard that for some mantras you have to do like 102.
108.
108 repetitions.
Yeah, you can do that. But for this 11, you can give as much sets you want to. Even the people who do 108 times this repetition. See? That's more.
It doesn't really matter, the number?
Well, 108 is a good number actually. But to start with, this is a good starting point. And over time, you can certainly graduate 108 or 1008 and stuff like that. Because 108 it has a lot of connotations there. And one of the astronomical connotations of 108 you can verify in Google Bhagavan. What it is the distance or the average distance between Earth and Sun divided by the diameter of the Sun is 108. The average distance between Earth and the Moon divided by the diameter of the Moon is 108. You see, there are 9 planets and we have 12 months, so 9 into 12 is 108. So with there are many other 108 stuff there. So that's the 108 is not a random number. It's you think that it's a significant number, and so is 11. You see, 11 because we have 5 organs of senses, 5 organs of action, and one which controls all the 10, the mind. So it's 11. See? Locomotion is an organ, work is another organ, seeing is another organ. Likewise, you have 11. Including the mind. So we tend to sort of purify each of the organ with each one. You don't need to know it, but it will happen, you see. But that's the beauty of mantra. It gives you the experience, not the intellectual understanding. You don't even need that. You take to that. Because nobody ever needs to know the waveform of his scratch to get irritated, you see. You just hear it, you get irritated. And that's how mantras work.
What is the best time to do the meditation?
Okay. Best time to do the meditation is in the morning, and in Indian Standard Time it's about 4 to 6 a.m. which won't work in America. I know that's when you go to sleep after a long day in the hospital. So any time when you just wake up, just freshen up, and you can do that in the morning. That's called homeostatic state, as per some of these many new people who have rediscovered meditation. Homeostatis, I think. I'm not sure what. When you wake up, that's the time when you are very creative, when the mind is still not asleep, but still it is awake. You see, that's the time when the mind can easily be silenced. Same with evening, you see. And generally after a heavy lunch, meditation would lead you to a greater state of meditation called sleep. So tend not to do it. Try to do it before an empty stomach or just some liquids is a good time to do it. Is that?
Leslie, you get the last question. I think we got about 1 minute.
I'll make an observation. You said, I was watching you, and you said several times about the mind. Each time you said the mind, you pointed to your heart.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah. it's unconscious, very observant of you. Right? I need to switch off the lights next time. I didn't know I was observed. I thought people just heard me. Thank you. It's a very good observation. Yeah.
This was really wonderful. We appreciate it very much.